For months, AI operators have been holding their breath, waiting for a clear set of rules. This week, the wait ended, but not in the way anyone expected. Instead of a single standard, companies are suddenly facing a barrage of competing regulations. In Washington, comprehensive AI safety bills like the GUARD Act are still sitting exactly where they were last month, stalled on the Senate floor without a scheduled vote. But while the federal pen remains on hold, the states are writing. In a span of just 7 days, 5 different state capitals drove through divergent, high-impact AI legislation. This map shows the legislative shift as it happened. While the federal level stays gray, watch the states light up. Georgia passed a sweeping chatbot statute. Colorado pushed through an omnibus framework alongside 4 other AI bills. Connecticut secured frontier worker rights. California moved its marquee safety bills. And a New Mexico judge denied Meta a directed verdict in a major platform liability case. We are watching the architecture from below snap into place. Uncoordinated state legislatures are now drafting the exact structural requirements that dictate how models can be deployed across the country. This forces a hard choice on every compliance team and engineering lead. Do you try to build a fractured state-by-state product rollout, or do you force your entire architecture to meet the single strictest state mandate? If you operate a platform or build frontier models, your strategy of waiting for federal clarity expired on Monday. Adapting to this decentralized regulatory baseline is now your immediate reality. To understand the sheer weight of these new rules, we have to evaluate the specific operational trade-offs they force on AI deployers. Let's look at Georgia first. On Monday, Governor Brian Kemp signed Senate Bill 540. It is the most aggressive single drafting choice we have seen in this legislative cycle. Up to this point, state chatbot laws followed a standard template. They included a convenient embedded services carve-out, a loophole exempting any chatbot tucked inside a larger product, like a search engine or a social feed. Looking at this comparison matrix, the difference is clear. Georgia stripped that exemption entirely. Senate Bill 540 applies to standalone bots and embedded models alike, pulling massive tools like Meta AI and Google Gemini directly into the regulatory net. For a deployer, this creates immediate development friction. You now have to build mandatory AI disclosures, suicidal ideation protocols, and user-controlled privacy tools directly into the seamless interface of your core products. Then there is Colorado. Governor Polis now holds 5 different AI bills on his desk, creating a sweeping set of enterprise-level rules. The centerpiece is Senate Bill 189, an omnibus framework governing the use of AI in consequential decisions, meaning any algorithmic determination regarding housing, employment, healthcare, or financial services. This introduces a heavy administrative load. If your model makes inferences that affect a consumer's financial or professional standing, you have to track those algorithmic outcomes, provide direct notice to the consumer, and engineer a legal mechanism for them to review and correct inaccurate data. For enterprise deployers, the verdict is harsh but clear. Attempting to geofence features for specific state lines is an operational nightmare. Standardizing your entire tech stack to meet Georgia's scope and Colorado's data tracking is the only viable path forward.
While enterprise deployers manage data tracking, consumer-facing platforms are dealing with an entirely different set of immediate content moderation burdens. Colorado's House Bill 1263 dictates strict new rules for how chatbots interact with users under the age of 18. Platforms are now required to build specialized pipelines that guarantee parental access tools, while actively banning sexually explicit material and any output designed to foster emotional dependence. These mandates create a safer digital environment, but they come with a brutal trade-off for the business. They effectively outlaw the gamified, engagement-driven routines that consumer apps have historically used to retain young users. While states pass future frameworks, the federal government does have one switch flipping immediately. The FTC's Take It Down Act compliance deadline arrives this week. The mechanics of this law are rigid. 15 covered platforms must have a working notice and takedown system capable of processing and removing non-consensual imagery, including AI-generated material, within exactly 48 hours. The cost of missing that window is severe. The FTC is armed with a civil penalty of over $53,000 for every single violation. Between Colorado's minor protections and the FTC's active deadline, consumer platforms no longer have the luxury of prioritizing new feature rollouts. Building out a bulletproof defensive moderation architecture has to take absolute precedence. Beyond corporate compliance, this week's legislative blitz shifted the balance of power directly to the frontline engineers building frontier AI models. In Connecticut, Governor Ned Lamont is finalizing Senate Bill 5. It contains a structural provision focused squarely on the dynamics inside the AI lab.
Historically, if a researcher saw an alignment failure or a dangerous model deployment, their only avenue was to report it up the chain through internal HR departments. As we add Connecticut to our comparison matrix, their solution stands out. The state established dedicated whistleblower protections for frontier AI workers, directly modeled on federal statutes built for the nuclear and chemical industries. Engineers now have the legal right to bypass lab management entirely. They can report safety failures straight to the Connecticut Attorney General, fully shielded by state law from corporate retaliation. This gives individual researchers the power to halt unsafe deployments before they leave the lab. But for the industry, it opens up a massive new vulnerability, creating direct vectors for state-level investigations driven by internal staff. Wait-and-see strategies for federal guidance are now high-risk gambles. The states have already built the architecture you have to operate within today. This decision tree maps out exactly what you need to do next depending on your specific role in the AI ecosystem. If you are an AI operator or corporate counsel, you must design your entire tech stack assuming that Georgia's expansive definition of a chatbot and Colorado's mandatory right-to-correct mechanisms are the new national standard. If you are an engineer or researcher inside a frontier AI lab, and you identify critical safety or alignment failures that management ignores, your protocol is to immediately document the evidence and utilize the newly available reporting channel to the Connecticut Attorney General. Future-proofing your product now depends on adopting the strictest state mandates as your primary development floor. The legal net is tightening around model deployment, and the most restrictive rules are the only safe baseline.